Hey everybody, welcome back. This is my design team project for Country Craft Creations. It is a mini album using the absolutely adorable Cruisin collection from Simple Stories. And we started last time making the envelope page, and I want to make sure I have this right side up. Okay, so it goes like this, it flips open. You know what? And I put the belly band here on the front while you were away, so let me just review that with you. Okay, so last time we made the envelope and got the matting done, and I added this star mat here. And anywhere where we have a full page, it's 5 3/4 by 4 1/4 for the mat. Okay, so then I added a little belly band to the front of the envelope, and that belly band is, what size is that? 1 1/4. 1 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then just score it a half inch, and attach it here. Now in the, I just drew a blank. In the prototype, I actually put the belly band here, but I decided on this one to put it actually on the envelope itself. And then I'm going to leave this plain for just a photo mat or something like that. So I've cut another mat out of the dotted paper that is 5 3/4 by 4 1/4, and then I've cut this for the belly band out of the little circle print, and that is 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. So now we have our page that opens. We have a space here for, and we could put a mat here, like a photo mat, but we'll see as we get along. And then here's our envelope and our belly band. The back, I haven't cut anything for here yet. I'm going to leave it plain for now. So we're going to set this one aside and pull out the next page. Okay, and the next page, make sure I have I've got my mats all cut, so let me pull those out. All right, so we have a pocket, and let me get my scoreboard for the next page. And this pocket is 4 by 5 1/2. And I actually have my cut list here, and I can hardly see it because I'm blind. Okay, let me go ahead and get a scoring tool out if I don't already have one. Have it out already? I do already have it out. Okay, now this pocket, let me grab the page, goes here. So here's our spine, here's the outside, and here's our pocket. So what you need to score is 1 long side and 2 short sides on this piece at a half inch. Score it, rotate it. I'm sorry, I have yet to figure out a way to score that you can easily see, and that's not too awkward for me. And this is just a regular traditional pocket. Make sure that you can see what I am doing. All right, and then we're just going to glue that onto our base. Grab my baby wipe here. I want to keep the side flaps underneath the bottom flap to try and make it easier to get things in and out of that pocket. Okay, so here's our base. And I'm just going to tuck this right up against, maybe in like a 1/16 of an inch from this side, because that's where the spine is going to be, just to give us some leeway. Make sure we don't block the spine at all. I'm just lifting this up to make sure it's straight, and it's not quite. That looks pretty good. Go. And as always, I'm just going to grab my scrap that I have here, just to make sure I didn't glue the pocket. Okay, so now for the mat, I have, I cut a plain white, which is, let me see, 3 1/4, let me see, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I cut this one 3 by 4. Well, this is a 3 by 4. It's one of the cut parts. So it's 3 by 4 and then a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And those are going to go stacked there. And then I had this one or this one. And I think I'm going to go with this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I like this better, I think. Yeah, we're going to go with the life preservers right there. Okay, so let's stack these first. And as you can see, I'm not inking. I'm just going with the crisp edge of the paper. I love this ship. There we go. Okay. Get that there, and then we're going to attach this to the pocket. Looks nice. I like that. Okay. And then this is going to go in the pocket as the lining. On the cut list, the pieces that go sort of inside the pockets, I call the linings. So when you see something referred to as a lining, that's what it means. Just put that in very lightly while you get it lined up where it belongs. Nice. That looks really cute. This paper is really cute. I need to go on a cruise. Okay. I have some cruise pictures already that I can put in here, but they're pretty old. Okay. All right, so that was easy, right? Super easy page. Now, the back side of this page, now here's the spine, so I'm going to turn it over, is going to have 2 flaps. So we have our 2 flaps, and we're going to need some magnets to hold the flaps closed. Go ahead. And the flaps are 4 by 4 1/2. And I think you want to put the 4-inch side across the top of your cutting board, and then you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. So 4 inches by 4 1/2, and you're going to score 1/2 inch. There we go. Just like that. And sorry, I'm picking this up where I can see it. Okay. And score it. burnish it. I always say score, I mean burnish. Okay, and this is very easy. One of these is going to go out one end, and the other one is going to go at the other end, and they just overlap. Like that moved, but it didn't. Looks fine. Okay, so there's one. You could round these corners if you wanted, but I'm not. And whoops. Slid. Again, it's really hard with black on black. Make sure it's straight. Of course, the fact that it's hard for you to see if it's straight means it's hard for other people to see if it's straight. But it does become much more obvious if it's crooked as soon as you put the mats on. Okay, so make sure you've got it right side up. And the right side is going under the left side, and the magnet is going to go on the left side. I'll go ahead and grab my magnets. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this is a design team project for Country Craft Creations. You can get all the supplies you need there, and I will have a link down below. All right, so we're just going to put that one. Whoop. I think I have a piece of metal on my desk because it went there. Let me see, tape. Do I have some out already? Okay, let me go for my 1/4 inch. Which I don't see. Oh, there it is. Okay. I've got one of those little 3-tier carts off to the side where I keep all my tools and adhesive. Okay. And I'm just going to put this out here. About halfway and about a little over an inch. Okay, we're going to take our scrap. If you don't put a scrap between these magnets, they're hard to get apart. And put that there. Okay, so now this is with it open. So again, make sure we're right side up. Okay, so let me grab the mats that I've chosen. I want to show you what I have here. All right, so this piece is going to go here. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. Okay, and this, of course, is that large sheet that has the huge ship on it, and I just cut a strip across the top that's 4 1/4 inches tall. Okay, and then this one is 5 3/4 across. Okay, and then the these are 3 1/4. So I've got 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, 5 3/4 by 4 1/4, and 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. This piece, because I had already cut some off of my sheet, I actually cut this from a second sheet that I had of the same paper. Okay, so what I would do right at the beginning before you start is go ahead and cut this 4 1/4 piece off the top of this sheet and set it aside for this page if you're going to do it the same as me. That way you won't accidentally cut what you need. Okay. So we're going to just work our way across, starting on the left. And what did I do with my baby white. Here it is. Just be careful you've got that magnet under there. You don't want to bruise the shape of the magnet into the paper. Okay. As you know, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, my eyesight is not the best, and I don't always get my mats down straight, and today's no exception. This looks a little crooked, but when you're doing a page like this where the design carries across, even though this one's a little, well, I guess it's pretty straight, you really want to make sure the top and bottom are as close to level as you can get them. So that your design lines up. Now again, perfection is not something that anybody's ever going to achieve, so don't panic if everything's not perfect. I guarantee you nothing in any of my albums is ever perfect. And I'm still happy with them. Okay. What I'm trying to do is make sure this gap is about the same size on both sides. I love the way that looks. That's really cute. So then that's going to go like that, and then that's going to come over the magnet caught. And let me show you what we have for the front. Okay, so I'm going to double mat again. I'm going to put the red, and that is, let's see, how big is this? 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so same as on the inside, of course. And then that's going to double mat with that on top. And then I've got these adorable anchors going here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the anchors. Get those out of the way. And I know this paper is designed for, you know, you've gone on a cruise, right? Which, you know, lots of people do. Cruising is very popular. And Country Craft Creations has a cruise coming up in the fall in New England. It's going to be loads of fun for the people who go. But even if you're not cruising, maybe it's just my sense of humor, I don't know. I just think this would be really funny if you own a little, like a bass boat or something, and or a little party boat, which we have here in Florida, little pontoon boats, you know, and just use this Cruisin paper and did your day on the river or whatever, or day on the lake. Be really cute. You know, this particular little journal card says our shore excursion. That could be your picnic lunch. I just think it would be fun, but maybe that's just my sense of humor. Boats are kind of ubiquitous where I live. Almost everybody has some form of a boat, be it a kayak or, like I said, a little bass boat or a pontoon boat, right up to, you know, giant yachts for the millionaires. I love this color combination. It's really, really pretty. Okay, so there is that. So we did that page pretty quickly. Okay, so where's the other one that we did? I've already set it aside somewhere. Here it is. So we still have to do something for the back here. But that's going to go there, like that. And then it flips over this way. Okay, let's set that aside, and we'll do our next page. And trying to remember what I have for the next page, which is our triangle pockets. And I've done this in at least one other album, but I feel like it may be an album you haven't seen yet, that it's something that I'm doing after this. So as you've seen me do triangle pockets before. I like them. But I don't think that, yeah, that goes there. I like them a lot, but I usually do singles. But for this previous project that I did, and now this one, we're going to do an overlapping triangle pocket. All right, so enough talking. Let me show you how to do it. So here's our base. I'll put that aside for the moment. Okay, so to make the actual pockets, you need to cut a piece that is, let's see, and it's an off size, that's why I'm double checking. 5.5 by 5 1/4. So it's not a square, it's just slightly off square. Okay, so 5.5 by 5 1/4. And I'm gonna grab the other half of that. Right? And then cut it in half diagonally. Then you want to take and score on each of your triangles the two straight sides, not the diagonal, at 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm going to do the same for both. Okay, like that. Okay, set that aside. And we're going to go ahead and trim out the corner of both of these. And just put the pin back in like glue. There we go. Okay. And then fold. Now do these one at a time, okay? Because they're going on opposite sides. You want to make sure you end up with them facing the correct way. Okay, so now you folded them over and you see you have these huge tails. So go in and you want to trim those off. Like that. Okay, so now you're going to end up with a piece that is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so now let's bring this over, and you want the 4 1/2 inch side going across the bottom and the 4 1/4 going up the edge. Okay, so now that I have folded this one, I see that this is going to be the one that goes on the right, so I'm going to put that over there, and then I'm going to do this one. And I want to make sure that I fold this correctly. So if you just do the first one, okay, so that's the 4 1/2. So that's going to be the bottom, right? So that needs to go this way. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing. Because they look so similar, it's hard to tell. I want the 4 1/2 to go across the bottom. This one, it didn't matter how I folded it because it was the first one. So this one ended up being the one that goes on the right, my right, okay? So this one, I need to make sure that I take the 4 1/2 inch side and fold this up to the inside so that it will go on the left. I hope that makes sense. And then we're just going to fold the other side. What I'm trying to avoid is having the top of the pocket end up right at the top of the page. Okay. If it happens that way for you, then that's fine. It'll be all right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim out these pieces. I'm very clumsy. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of my little trimmings here. So I'm going to do this one first. And I know it's going to make things messy a little bit, but you really need to make sure you get your glue right up to the point on these. Okay, and you can always wipe the extra off. All right. Okay, so that goes there, and again, it makes a little bit of a mess, but you definitely want to make sure that that point is well glued down. All right. And what did I do with my square? Here it is. And see that one there. See that, how it's coming up? So just really check that. Put a little more glue in there if you need to. And just glue that down really well. Because if anything is going to come up in the end, it's going to be that point. So just get it really well glued down. And get that in there. Okay. Okay, so that's the first pocket, which I don't think you can even see. Anyway, I'm going to grab some white. Okay, so that goes like that. See that? All right. We're going to take the second pocket, and it's going to go here and overlap right over that. Okay. Okay. This pocket goes here. You can see I've got glue oozing out because I put a lot down in my corners, but that's all right. It dries clear, and you can wipe off the excess with your baby wipe. Just really press those points down. All right. Good. Okay, so now we have, here's our front pocket and a back pocket. Okay, let's tuck that so you can see. Okay. Now we have our pieces, and I cut this plaid here. Now, bizarrely, even though you cut a piece that was not quite square for the pockets, you are going to cut a square piece for the mats. And that is going to be a piece that is, let me see, 4 by 4 cut in half diagonally. So I used 2 different pattern papers. If you want to use the same, just cut one square. 4 by 4, cut it in half diagonally. And then for the lining piece, it is 5 3/4 by about 4 1/4. I used a scrap, so I think mine's a little narrower. You just want to make sure that when you put it in, it clears that point, right? So that's going to go like that. And let's go ahead and put this in first, because this one's kind of a pain to do. Okay, now on this side, grab my pieces, here we are. We're going to do a flap. Now you can do just a plain flap if you want, but what we're going to do is a scalloped flap. So first we're going to take our piece, and this piece is 6 by 4 1/2. Okay, so put it in your scoreboard with the 4 1/2 and score it at a 1/2 inch. Okay, we're not going to fold that yet, but we want to get the score mark down. Now, you have a couple of options for this. If you're comfortable with drawing, you could just draw yourself a scalloped edge. If you're not comfortable with drawing, you could take something round, such as, you know, a piece of tape, or, you know, what do you call it? This is my seam binding that I use, or a plate. whatever you've got, this is what I used in the original, and it is 5.5. So if you've got a plate, something 5.5, 6, like a small dessert plate or something, that'll work. And what you want to do is just draw a little arc. Okay, I hope you can see that. Then I'm going to take and just place this so that it meets up with that arc, and just draw it again. Okay? Just to make a little S curve that's bigger on one side than the other. And I'm going to use my big scissors. And we're going to cut this out. There, just like that. Okay? Super easy. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. You could leave it straight. But it just makes it look a little different. And as with the envelope, we're now going to use this template to cut our mats. All right. So I've only chosen, no, I've got them both chosen. I'm wrong. I was going to say I've only chosen one, but I chose them both. Okay. So this is going to be the front, right? So what we're going to do, and I'm going to use this piece here. I'm just going to lay this right on my piece and then just slide it over a little bit so it's centered, because the mat piece I cut is the 5 3/4 across, and then you just need it to be deeper than your piece. Okay, and then I am just going to trace that. Okay, and that should be about right. And then what I can do is just slide it back a little bit to where I can see the line, and just give myself the size reveal I want, and draw another line. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut the inner line. Okay, so that's going to go on the outside, and I'm just looking to see. I feel like it could be a little, no, it's good, that's fine. Okay, so that's the outside. Then we have to repeat that to turn the mat over and repeat it for the inner mat. And the inner mat is directional, so I need to make sure I get it where I want it. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm laying it where it's going to go on the inside. Okay, right there. I'm just flipping it over. I'm going to draw it on the back. Let's just straighten that out a little bit. Draw my line. Slide it back a little, just like before, and draw the inner line. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the inner line. Okay. All right, so that one's going to go on the inside. All right. Now, and actually, you know what? I might as well just do it while it's flat. I might as well put these in. So this one's the inside. Oh, hang on. Before I put that on, let me just wipe that glue. Almost forgot the magnet. My usual trick. Okay, so let's grab that. Because that needs to go under there. We'll put it about there. Up there. Whoops. Stuck to my finger. Okay. We'll set that one aside for the moment. Okay, now let's glue this on. Okay. I'm being careful to avoid where I put that magnet. Okay. And then this piece, you know, I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish this just to make it easier to get that front one on. And we'll go ahead and trim these corners. just awfully close to that edge. And I'm wondering if I should trim it a little bit. I think I will. I'm just going to trim a little bit of that off. Okay. Yeah, that's better. And the reason I'm leaving this on is I like the idea of this picking up on what's going to be visible under the flap. If you're not, you know, obviously you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Especially if you're not using the same paper for the base as you are for the flap. Because then this wouldn't match. You'll see what I mean in a minute. That may have been a little vague. And I intend to do some decorating here down the road. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. So now let's make sure we have the top. This is the top. Okay, just pick this up and line this up. Oops, oh my goodness, that slid. Okay, put that back where it belongs. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now we need to put this magnet before we forget. By we, I mean I. Okay, there we go. And you know what? I have my map upside down. Oops. Okay, if you're using directional, be a little more careful. Actually, I have, I don't think it's going to matter in the long run because I have decoration going there. There we go. See, we have, and then I have this piece going here. Nice, that looks good. Okay, that goes there. And then there's something that's going to go here and also here. So. Cute. Okay. So that is our third page. It goes like that. And now we have, let's pull this one out. Okay, so on the next page, let me set aside the mats that I don't need yet. I have the front and back of each are together, so all of these are for the back of that page. Reclip those. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to have, an extra, let's see, you go there, is a small pocket. Okay. So that's going to go there, and then there's a small pocket with this polka dot icons or whatever it is. Okay, get this out of the way. We don't need it anymore. And so this small pocket is 1 1/4 by 5 3/4, and we're going to score. I'm getting all kinds of mess here. I'm going to clean up a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. Set that over there. Okay, so what did I say? Shallow pocket is 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. So you're going to score 1/2 inch. No, that's the mat. Hang on. The pocket is 2 by 7. That size I just gave you is for the mat. So 2 by 7, and you're going to score both short ends, 1 long end. We're making just a little shallow pocket. And in case I haven't not already mentioned it, I know I did in a previous video, I have a link down below for you to go to my blog and you can download the cut list for this project. Okay? And mine has got scrawls on it and whatever, but it looks like this and it has everything you need. Okay? And hang on, just drop my... Alright, so let's get our page. And again, we're just burnishing our folds. As you can see, when you've got everything, you know, pre-cut and ready to go, like I do, you know, or if you follow my, you know, cut list that I just showed you, you can get this project done pretty quickly. And I'm not going to say it's a one-day project, unless you're going to spend all day at it, but, you know, you can, a couple of evenings work, you can have it done. Okay. And this goes at the bottom, across the bottom. Just like that. Okay, super easy. Just burnish, make sure everything's good. Let's check here. Alright, and then we have the mats, and this lining is 5 3/4 by 3 1/2, and the little front piece is 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, just like that. Okay, super easy. All right, and then we have the back page, and this is not difficult, but it's a little different. So I'm gonna make sure I have my pin back in my glue, and we'll look at this page. And I may bring in the prototype just to try and explain what we're gonna do here. I'm sorry if I'm making that sound difficult. It's not difficult, it's just a little different. Okay. I'm gonna grab my prototype. I don't know if you guys have seen the prototype, but this is the prototype book. And here we have what looks like a waterfall, okay? But it's not a waterfall. Okay, so we have, it's kind of a modified waterfall, right? And the reason I didn't want to do a waterfall is if I had done a waterfall, what you would have is 4 pieces of all the same size, and then they would stagger down by 1/2 inch each one. And that would mean that they would all need to be this size, which is kind of narrow, right? But I wanted there to be a little more room for pictures and things. If I stacked them, it would be too bulky. You know, if I just put all the same size, like this one, a bigger one, a bigger one, a bigger one, and then stacked them, that would have been too bulky. So let me show you. It looks like a waterfall, behaves like a waterfall, but it's not. And if you look right here between these two, you'll see a little thread. What this is a little sewn booklet that's attached to the page with a hinge. And I don't think you can see that. The hinge is right here because I haven't matted it yet. So you could see it. I think you can see it. There's a wide hinge right here. Okay, so what we need to make is this little sewn booklet, and then we're going to attach it with the hinge. And let me show you. Set this aside in case I need to pull it back in to explain something. And we've got our mats. Let me set those aside. Okay. All right. So to make the booklet, what I'm calling a sewn waterfall, you need 2 pieces, 6 by 7 1/2. They're the same size. Okay. And you're going to take the first one, lay it in your scoreboard, the long edge across the top. Okay, which is 7 1/2. Then you're going to score this at 3 inches. Okay, just like that. Then you're going to take the second one, which you're also going to place the long edge across the top, and you're going to score this one 3.5 inches. Okay? Set that aside. Okay, so basically you have two identical pieces. One of them has been scored at 3 inches and one at 3.5. Okay? I'm going to fold over, make sure everything lines up neatly, and burnish it. And wait, let me grab my white so you can see. So you can see when I fold this over, you have a piece that's 1/2 inch shorter than the other. Okay? Then we're going to take the second one, and we're going to score this one, or fold this one, excuse me, and burnish it. And this one has a wider gap. Okay? So what you're going to do is take this one, the one that only has the 1/2 inch overlap, and you're going to tuck it inside that one, which results in something you probably can't see on camera. But it's a waterfall shape, right? Now, if you have a stapler long enough to go all the way in, you could staple these. I would not glue them. I don't think that would be particularly secure. I chose to sew mine. So let me go ahead and grab my needle and thread. Now, you could do it on a sewing machine if you wanted, but I think this is just much easier to do by hand. And as you can see, I'm using blue thread. It's going to blend in the end. If I had black handy, I would use it, but I don't. If you've got, use whatever you have that'll match your base. And hang on, I'm just threading my needle here. And what you want is a good long piece of doubled thread. Okay. I'd rather have more than I need than run out, so I'm just cutting it really long. Well, I would be cutting it. There we go. Okay. Set that aside. And you don't need to put a knot in the end because it's going to be cut off anyway, but just to prevent me accidentally pulling it through, I made a knot. Okay, so line everything up, make sure everything's even. Okay, and then you're going to open it up to the middle and go about 1 inch in and poke your needle through. Okay, just like that. Just make sure everything's still lined up. You're going to go to the other end about 1 inch in, and again, poke your needle through. Okay, just like that. So now you have 2 holes. Then you want to go maybe another 1 inch in at each end. You want to have a total of 4 holes. So there's that one. And if you have an awl or something like that, some sort of pointy tool, you could do that. Okay, so now we have all of our holes. Okay, so I'm now going to go through one of the 2 middle holes. Leave a nice long tail because we're going to have to tie it later. Then we're going to go in, back in from the outside, from the next hole to the edge. Okay, so we went out this way, and then we're going in. Okay, I just want to get my thread straight. Okay, then we're going to go back out that same hole that we started in. There. Okay, and there's our tail. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to go in the next of the holes that's in the middle. Okay, pulling it nice and snug. And I have a little bump there. Let's see what that is. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go out the last hole, the one we haven't used yet. That. that, and then I'm going to go back in the middle hole here. There we go. Okay, so now it's neatly sewn along the edge. So what I did, let me repeat. I started here from the inside and I went out. And then I came in here, I went out there again, then I came in the next middle hole, went out this end hole, and came back the inside hole. So now I have all my threads to the inside. Cut that. Set my needle aside. And we're just going to tie this in a knot. You want this nice and snug, but you don't want it so tight that you're tearing your paper. Okay. There we go. And I think I'll just tie that one more time. There we go. Okay, so there's our little sewn waterfall. Just gonna cut the tails, leaving about 1/4 inch or so. Okay, just like that. Okay, now to attach this, so I don't think we need our sample book anymore. Let me get that off. Here to the side. All right, and here's our page. Make sure this is the top. And this is going to be attached at the top, like so. Okay. And to attach that, we have this hinge piece. All right, and the hinge piece is 5 7/8 by 1 1/2. So it's just a little bit shorter than the actual waterfall. And I'm gonna grab this. It's 1 1/2. You're gonna put the 1 1/2 inch side along the top and just score it in half. So that would be 3/4 inch. Half of 1 1/2 is 3/4. Okay. And fold. And then just go ahead and take your scissors while it's folded and just snip like that. Okay, same kind of thing we've done before, just with a narrower hinge. I just used a wider hinge because there's a lot of weight here and I just wanted the strength of a wider hinge. Okay, and what you're going to do, okay, so here's the top, here's your waterfall. Here's the top fold where you sewed. Okay, do you see what I'm doing? Folding it towards me. And this is going to go with the fold along that top edge. Okay. I lifted it up. Here's the top edge of my waterfall. Here's the top fold of my hinge. And just center that right along the top. So you're going to have about 1/16 inch at each edge. Just like that. Right. Just like that. Okay. And then here, again, be very careful because this needs to go along the top. And then you're going to attach that hinge to the top edge of this page, the other side of the hinge. Okay, I'm just checking because it looks like my hinge is coming up a little bit there. Hasn't quite dried that glue yet. Okay. Triple check to make sure you're at the top. And press. Okay, open that up. now I have a piece. Let me just get it. And this is the piece that I'm going to put here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down just to help with that hinge, because it looks like it's wanting to come up a little bit. It's just not dry yet, that's all. Okay. Just want to make sure everything's good before I put that down. Okay, so this piece is the usual 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Put that down. And hang on, before I glue that, I want to make sure, yes, hang on. One last thing before I glue that down is our little band that's going to close it. And that is, hang on, 1.5 by 4, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Right. And that's going to go on the base. Right, so we're going to lift up. Here's our whole sewn book. Here's our hinge. Here's the hinge. And this is going to be centered here on the bottom. Almost forgot it. Okay. And I'm just eyeballing center, as usual. If you're not good at that, feel free to measure. I'm not that great at it, but I don't mind doing it. Okay, so now we'll place this. This does have a north and south on these compasses, so if you want north facing away at the top, just be careful of that. And I haven't cut a mat for that yet. So then this will come down, and there's a magnet that's going to hold this closed, so we need to put that magnet before we do our mats. That's going to go there. Put that there. Now you don't want to like push this really tight and pull this up really tight, because there's going to be a lot of mats. So just sort of let it fall nicely without, stretching it. Okay. All right. So now for these mats, I'm checking my cut list to make sure I give you the right measurements. All of the mats, except of course for the belly band, are going to be 5 3/4 inches wide. And what I did is I took a piece of this paper right down the edge, 5 3/4 wide, so that I had a continuous piece, right? And then I cut a piece that was 2 3/4, and then right below in that same spot, I cut 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, right? So that they'll be kind of continuous. So in other words, whoops, okay, hang on. I had, this is a continuous piece of the paper, and I just cut off my 2 3/4 piece, then 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, okay? So this piece, if I can pick it up, is gonna go along the top. Okay, there we go. And then the next one, try and keep these in order. Now you don't have to do it, so the pattern is continuous if you don't want to. I just think it looks nice. And then this one. Okay. Missed one, that one, okay. There we go. Like that, okay? And then get that out of the way, so we can close that, and then that will close like that. Kind of like that black, I almost don't want to mat it. And I cut this to go here. And this piece is, how big is this? 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I still have to cut the inside mat for this, and then there's that one other spot we need a mat for. All right, you want to line this up so that it's even with this bottom mat. Okay? It just looks neater if you do it that way. Okay. There. Cute. Okay, let's pull in all our pages, see what else we need to do. So we need a mat for here, maybe a belly band or something, but I think I'm going to leave it. I think I would like to have a couple of places just for a big picture, especially in a small book like this. All right, so this one opens like this, flips, and I think we're going to leave that plain. We're just going to put a mat. This is a pocket. This is our double flaps. This is our double triangle pocket. Here is our scalloped flap, a little shallow pocket, and our sort of sewn waterfall. All right, I think we've got a lot done. I just need, let's see, so we need this mat. These are all matted, this is all matted, that's all matted. So then we just need, the inside of this belly band needs a mat. These I'm not matting because I'm leaving them for pictures unless I decide to put just solid there for picture backgrounds. But I do want to mat this with a solid of some kind so a large picture can go there. And then we need to make our side pockets, inserts, and some tags and things. So I think that's enough for today. And when I come back in the next episode, we will have finished this matting. I'll probably have those mats all cut out and ready to go. And we'll do all our inserts and make the cover. And we'll see how far we get. We might get it done, we might not. We don't want to rush. And then let me give you the measurements for the cover. If you're familiar with how to wrap a cover, what you will need for your chipboard is, hang on, you need 2 pieces 5 by 6 3/8 and 1 piece 5 by 2. And then I cut 2 7-inch strips of cardstock, glued them, and here I'll pull them out so you can see, just in case you want to do this, oops, before the next video. All right, so you're going to get 2 strips 7 inches by 12 and just seam them together in the middle to wrap your cover. Okay, and that's that. All right, I think that is it. All right, so I will see you next time. We'll make a lot more progress. We might get done, we might not. Thanks so much for watching. Again, you can get all the supplies for this project at Country Craft Creations. It is Cruisin by Simple Stories and Black Artisan cardstock, all of which is available at Country Craft Creations. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I really appreciate it. And hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video in the series. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.